A connection that feels like home is more than love. It is safety, peace, and belonging wrapped into one heartbeat. For Nick and Noah, love wasn't something loud, forced, or dramatic. It was quiet, natural, and deeply comforting, like finding a place they didn't know they were searching for. When they were together, the world felt less heavy. Every worry softened, every fear faded, because they knew they had someone who understood them without needing explanations. Nick never had to pretend around Noah. He didn't need perfect words or perfect confidence. With Noah, his flaws weren't something to hide. They became parts of him that were seen, accepted, and loved. Noah felt the same. The world outside could misjudge, misunderstand, or change its mind, but Nick never did. Their connection was built on trust, friendship, and a gentle kind of loyalty that never demanded anything, yet gave everything. Their bond didn't need constant reassurance. One glance from Noah told Nick he was valued. One quiet moment beside Nick told Noah he was safe. They created a space where silence wasn't awkward, it was peaceful. Where conversations were honest, even when the truth was heavy. Where laughter came naturally and tears had a shoulder to fall on. Home wasn't a place anymore, it was the name of the person standing beside them. This connection wasn't rushed. It didn't happen in a single moment. It grew slowly like sunrise spreading across a dark sky. They learned each other's habits, fears, and dreams. Nick felt at home in Noah's kindness, in the way he listened, in the way he stayed. Noah felt at home in Nick's strength, in the way he protected, in the way he cared without needing anything in return. Little by little, they became each other's comfort, each other's escape, each other's peace. Even on their worst days, when the world felt cold or uncertain, coming back to one another was like walking through the door of a warm room after a storm. They didn't fix each other's lives, but they made them easier to endure. They didn't solve every problem, but they faced them together. And that made all the difference. Love like theirs didn't need perfection. It needed presence. It needed patience. It needed two hearts willing to stay, even when things weren't easy. Nick and Noah didn't just fall in love. They chose each other again and again, in every moment, in every season. That is why their connection feels like home. Because home is where you are understood without speaking. Home is where you can cry, laugh, dream, break, and rebuild, without fear of being left behind. Home is where someone sees you, loves you, and stays. And for Nick and Noah, that home will always be each other. Love shown in small, meaningful moments is often the purest form of affection because it lives quietly in ordinary days. For Nick and Noah, love was not measured by expensive gifts, dramatic promises, or grand displays for the world to applaud. Their love lived in soft gestures, shared silence, and little things many people would never even notice. Yet those tiny pieces, when placed together, formed something unbreakable. Nick never needed to say, "I love you," 1,000 times to prove it. Sometimes, love was in the way he remembered Noah's favorite songs. The way he saved the last bite of dessert because Noah always wanted it, even if he pretended he didn't. The way he walked on the outside of the sidewalk, not because Noah asked him to, but because protecting him felt natural. These gestures were small, but each one whispered, "I care about you more than myself." Noah showed his love differently. He knew the sound of Nick's heartbeat when he was anxious. He could tell when Nick was pretending to be okay, hiding his stress behind a smile. Noah never pushed for explanations. Instead, he made coffee, sat beside him, and stayed long enough for silence to turn into peace. He understood that comfort didn't always need words. Sometimes love was simply presence, staying when the world felt too loud. Many people think love requires dramatic statements or constant attention, but Nick and Noah found magic in simple routines. They cooked together, even if it meant teasing fights over chopping vegetables too slowly. They watched movies not for the story, but to fall asleep on each other's shoulders. They took late night drives with no destination, windows down, music low, letting the world pass quietly around them. These moments didn't make headlines, but they made memories that lasted forever. Every small gesture was a reminder that they were thinking of each other, even in the most ordinary parts of life. Sometimes Noah sent messages just to say he missed Nick, even if they had seen each other that morning. Sometimes Nick left notes in Noah's pockets, little jokes, tiny hearts, or reminders to stay warm when the weather was cold. They didn't care if no one else ever saw those moments. They were private treasures, belonging only to them. Love also showed itself in compromise. Nick liked to sleep early, Noah was a night owl, yet both learned to give a little. Noah held Nick a little longer at night just so he wouldn't fall asleep alone. Nick woke early sometimes, so they could share breakfast before the day began. These adjustments were small, unnoticed by others, but quietly powerful. Because love is not about who wins. It's about who stays gentle. When life became stressful, their affection didn't disappear. Instead, it showed in the tiniest acts of care. Making tea for tired hands, fixing a crooked collar before leaving the house, listening to fears without judgment, smiling just to make the other smile back. These were not dramatic scenes from a movie, but real love, the kind that grows deeper when life is ordinary. Over time, Nick and Noah learned that anyone can make big promises, but not everyone shows love in everyday moments. Anyone can say, "I'll always be here." But only someone who truly cares proves it in silence, in routine, in details so small that the rest of the world might overlook them. Their love teaches that real affection is never loud. It is gentle, patient, and quiet. It hides in eye contact that lasts a little longer, in shared laughter over something silly, in sitting together on a bad day without asking for explanations. Small moments become memories, and memories become the story of their relationship, a story written in soft gestures, tiny sacrifices, and 1,000 simple reasons to stay. In those moments, Nick and Noah found something beautiful. Love doesn't need attention to be real. It only needs two hearts willing to notice the little things, and to never take them for granted. A love that stays, even when life gets hard, is the kind of love people search for their whole lives. It is not fragile, it is not temporary, and it does not disappear at the first sign of difficulty. Nick and Noah had the kind of bond that refused to break, even when the world tried to pull them apart. Their love wasn't built on perfect days or easy moments. It grew stronger in the storms, in the silence, in the times when holding on felt heavier than letting go. There were days when misunderstandings rose like walls between them. Times when stress, distance, or fear made their hearts feel tired. But instead of walking away, they chose each other again and again. They learned that love is not just found in happiness. It is proven in patience, forgiveness, and staying when everything feels uncertain. Every couple can enjoy the sunshine, but only real love survives the rain. Nick struggled with overthinking. Sometimes his mind created problems that didn't exist, and his emotions overwhelmed him. Noah didn't judge him, even when it was difficult. He stayed. He listened. He reminded Nick that he wasn't alone. And when Noah had days where he doubted himself, where he questioned his worth or felt like he wasn't enough, Nick held him tighter. He didn't give speeches or pretend to be a hero. He simply stayed beside him, and that was enough to keep Noah strong. Life is not gentle. It throws challenges at people. Financial problems, family issues, insecurities, jealousy, fear of losing one another. Nick and Noah faced these things too. They had arguments that hurt, days when silence was sharp, moments when pride stood in the way. But no matter how hard things became, neither of them believed in giving up. They talked, even when their voices shook. They apologized, even when pride tried to stop them. They forgave, because losing each other hurt more than being wrong. A love that stays isn't about perfection, it's about effort. Nick and Noah learned to pick their battles, to choose kindness over ego, and to remember why they fell in love in the first place. Their hearts knew each other too deeply to let temporary pain destroy something permanent. Some nights ended in tears, but every morning still began with love. Because real love doesn't walk away, it fights. The world around them changed, but they remained each other's constant. When life became stressful, they leaned on each other. When one of them felt weak, the other became strength. When their future looked unclear, they created hope together. They didn't need promises written on paper. They had promises written in loyalty, sacrifice, and the courage to stay. Some people think relationships only survive when everything is perfect. Nick and Noah proved the opposite. Their bond survived because they chose to love even on days they didn't feel like it. Love wasn't always butterflies or soft music. It was late-night arguments followed by tight hugs. It was holding hands even when their hearts were tired. It was believing in each other when no one else did. They learned that the strongest love is not the one that never breaks. It's the one that breaks and still returns stronger. They healed each other with patience. They handled problems as a team. They turned weaknesses into understanding and fears into trust. Life tested them many times, but every challenge only reminded them how much they mattered to each other. In the end, Nick and Noah weren't perfect people, but they were perfect for each other. Their love stayed, even when it was heavy, even when it was painful, even when walking away seemed easier. Because real love isn't proven by how tightly two people hold hands in easy moments. It's shown by how tightly they hold on when everything tries to tear them apart. And they never let go.